Never again. What do you do with 8 million Nazis? Chapter 5, Communists versus the Nazis. Workers of the world unite. Back in 1917, Vladimir Lenin had unleashed the Russian Civil War, in which 7 million to 12 million people died. By comparison, in World War I, the numbers varied between 9 and 17 million. Soon, Russia became a closed dictatorship filled with secret police and common people disappearing. Just 7 years later, German communists were doing well in German elections, taking 12.6% of the vote in 24. During the 20s and 30s, they were usually the third, fourth, or fifth largest party out of more than a dozen. Hitler hated them. Hitler's party, the German Workers' Party, and its successor, the National Socialists, competed with the communists for the same voters, and they lost every time throughout the 1920s. Nazis and communists shot at each other in the streets. After the Reichstag fire of '33, in which the parliament burned down, the Nazis beat up, imprisoned, and murdered 4,000 communist politicians and their supporters. Both the Nazis and German communists agreed that the state needed 100% control of industry, farming, and business. Both were socialists. They just had a different idea about what should be socialized. Hitler said he didn't really need to take over someone's farm or factory. Why should I nationalize the farms or the factories, he said, when I can nationalize the people? The Soviets, however, took over the farms and factories. Also, where they disagreed was, communists believed in an international family of humanity, loaded with mass murders, loaded with concentration camps, show trials and propaganda, but nevertheless an international family of humanity. German nationalists, however, believed in German supremacy. German supremacy also meant the Aryans were racially perfect. Most internationalists, accused and otherwise, were considered to be mongrels, racially worthless. Hitler often blamed international Jewish financiers with threatening to cause a second world war. Racially worthless mongrels were fit for slave labor or death, according to Hitler. Now, given this rivalry from the 1920s, Hitler had promised to invade Russia. This betrayal turned into the second largest war in human history, called the Eastern Front War. It is a subset of World War II. Now, when the war ended, Stalin set up special camps and destroyed the East German part of the Nazi Party in Poland, East Germany, and every other nation that he dominated. It is a sad irony that Britain originally had declared war on Germany in 1939 because it had promised to defend Poland and keep it free. But now Poland was controlled by the dictator with more blood on his hands than Hitler. Thus, Poland fell to Stalin and remained a slave state, a captured state, from 1945 to 1989. Even when Stalin died, Poland could not be free. That concludes Communists versus the Nazis. The Communists won. The Nazis were obliterated. Next up, the Nazi hunters.